Paid for by Marjan Philhour for Supervisor 2020. Financial disclosures are available at sfethics.org. Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Marjan Philhour, and I'm really thrilled to be here today with Robin Fong, who is a senior at George Washington High School here in the Richmond. Hi, Robin.
Hi.
There's so many things that have come along with this pandemic, and we talk so much about how it affects our business community, how it's affected our seniors, our neighborhoods as a whole. But one of the things that I know affects so many of us, whether it's directly in your immediate family or whether, it's a neighbor or, someone down the street or just someone that like 1 degree of separation, is how this pandemic is affecting our students. In particular, our seniors in high school who would normally be experiencing so many things that come with being in high school and, kind of the culmination of 4 years of hard work. And so, Robin, we're so glad that you're here to share your story and experience today, being a senior and what the future holds for you, what you anticipate. And, why don't we start by you're telling us a little bit about yourself?
Well, as you said, I'm a senior at George Washington High School, and I'm excited to be attending UCLA in the fall.
Congratulations.
Hopefully it won't be online. Um, yeah, I'm part of my school's student government, journalism, and I have a passion for writing, so I really like journalism, and in my free time, I like to hang out with my friends and go thrift shopping.
Yeah. What has it been like for you, like to not see your friends in person during this pandemic?
It's been hard for sure. I mean, we talk on Zoom, we talk on we FaceTime each other a lot, and like that's helpful, but it's not the same as in person.
Yeah.
They've been really supportive, and I don't know how I would get through this without them.
No, definitely. Definitely. It's so important to have that support system of friends in particular, like we have our families, but there's something really special about our friends in high school. So how does a typical school day look like for you now? I mean, how does it compare to before shelter in place?
Well, to say the least, it's drastically different. Um, we have 2 classes a day, two 35-minute classes, compared to 6 to 7 classes per day, and they're held over Zoom. Typically the teacher does like more of a lecture style, but recently they've been using this feature. I think it's called breakout rooms, where we get to go into smaller calls with our classmates and we get to talk with our peers. So that's been kind of, I don't know, it's kind of nice to like socialize with them in that way and like work as a group to find solutions. But it's definitely really different, and it's hard to stay motivated, I'd say, when your assignments are like email notifications or like something like a post on Google Classroom. It's just hard when the work that you're turning in isn't really like tangible. It's hard to like feel like it means like anything.
Right, right. Yeah. And so that's why I would imagine in those breakout rooms, kind of connecting with your fellow classmates kind of helps take a little bit of that feeling away.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Well, being a senior, some of the most important events for high school students, or, certainly the most meaningful or more meaningful events for high school students happen in their senior year, like senior prom and graduation and all sorts of senior traditions. What's it like for you knowing that you won't be experiencing those milestones in the same way as those who came before you?
Well, I think I kind of speak for everyone when I say that it's like really sad that we're not going to get a prom or a senior graduation.
Mhm.
At the same time, it's kind of like I feel almost like it's like selfish to kind of like pity myself when so many people are going through a lot worse with this pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like in my head, I had painted these like last couple months of senior year to be like, like a reward for like all the hard work we put in like these last 4 years. And now it kind of feels like, oh, we did all the hard work, but we're not going to get to have any of the fun.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, my friends and I, we would always talk about like, oh, we're gonna go on this like big grand senior trip, and we already bought all our prom dresses, and
Oh
it's
my
like,
goodness.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's just like it's really sad that we don't get to have any of it. So, yeah, as you said, I am part of student government. We have talked about the possibility of having a graduation and prom in the fall,
Mhm.
hopefully. Under normal circumstances, we wouldn't be able to have it because we would have been graduated, but
Mhm.
we're hoping administration might be a little bit more lenient, seeing that, we're in a pandemic and,
Yeah.
this is like out of anyone's control. So everything's like up in the air and we really don't know, but,
Yeah.
all we can do is kind of like stay hopeful.
Yes, yes. I think it's that hope and optimism that we're seeing in so many areas, whether it's through student bodies or, local businesses or even like families, multi-generational families. It's like keeping that hope and optimism alive, I think
Exactly.
it's hard some days, but I mean, it's what so many of us do to kind of cope with what's happening around us. So, the shelter in place order was just extended and there's so much uncertainty out there. So how has this affected how you transition into your post high school years? Again, congratulations into getting into
Thank you.
UCLA. But how has that changed that right now?
I think it's really confusing because, like, on the one hand, we're supposed to be really excited about like going to college and like, starting this like new chapter in our lives, beginning to become adults and gaining independence. But like, there's this lack of closure with our senior year, and
Mhm.
it's just kind of confusing almost. Like, I don't really know how to feel about that.
Yeah.
Also, I think UCLA recently emailed their students saying that, you know, they're preparing for like in the event that we might have to have our fall quarter to be online, that like, they won't the tuition will still be the same price, which is a little
Oh,
bit upsetting. But
yeah.
but like what's probably the most upsetting is that, my parents have always told me that like college is going to be like the best years of your life. You're going to be intellectually challenged and you're going to meet all these like interesting people. And it's hard to imagine that it would be like even remotely the same if it was online.
Right, right. Well, hopefully, I mean, I guess we all have to plan for contingencies, especially, in our educational system and all the systems around us. But, I'm hoping the best for you and for all of us,
Yeah, I hope
because that is
so
definitely
too.
different. That's different. But so how about looking back on your 4 years at Washington High School? Like, what has been your favorite high school memory and what will you miss the most?
I don't know if there's like any one particular memory that's like my favorite. I mean, there's like my time as like a student athlete and a student leader in like various clubs and classes. Um, Definitely, like the lunch times with my friends and like us like planning our senior trip and just like having a lot of fun and like laughing with each other. Um, yeah, I think there's just a lot of memories that like will define like not just my senior year, will define my high school journey. And like, yes, like the fact that a pandemic happened, like I'll never forget that. But like, it doesn't take away everything else that's happened these last 4 years. And I think
Mhm.
that's like important to remember. What will I miss most? I think what I'll miss most is like kind of being a kid,
Yeah.
because like when you're in high school, you're not expected to be like the most mature, so people kind of give you a little bit of slack.
Yeah.
But I think, like stepping into adulthood, there's like a lot of responsibility to
Mhm.
take on, and like I feel like I do have a long way to go and it's really scary, but I'm also very excited for it. So I
Mhm.
think I'll
Mhm.
miss being a kid the most.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even experiencing this pandemic, I think has forced so many young people to grow up
Yeah,
pretty
for sure.
quickly, and
Mhm.
I mean, you definitely are very mature in general, but to be experiencing this, I was talking to my son who's a seventh grader and he just turned 13 and, asking him about his thoughts. And, for me, this is a once in a lifetime thing. I'm 45 years old and this has never happened in my lifetime. Right.
Mhm.
And for him, he's thinking, well, I'm in seventh grade and this has already happened. So maybe it's just something that happens, and to be experiencing that at such a young age. And you, um, as a teen, experiencing this has really kind of, I think, expedited that growing up and really being faced with some of these issues around public health and our own fragility as a community. So Thank you for being here today and for sharing your perspective. I think it's just so important to hear from our students.
Thank you for, letting me share my story.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, thank you very much and best of luck to you. And we're looking forward to keeping in touch and following you on your journey, and wish you all the best in your future endeavors. We know you'll experience so much success, and that in the end, this pandemic and what we're going through now, we'll all look back on. Hopefully, we'll have gleaned a lot on the learning front, but also come out stronger as a community. So thank you, Robin.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too. Bye.